It's Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood here on ESPN 1000, the ESPN app. So glad that you're with us. Come to Chicago Improv, Schaumburg, May 17th to the 20th. It'll be our guest, Aries Spears. It's going to be at the Woodfield Mall. Again, Chicago Improv. For tickets, go to chicago.improv.com. Aries Spears is going to be in the Chicagoland area Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 17th through the 20th. And we are talking to Aries Spears now here on ESPN 1000. Aries, Jonathan Hood, thanks so much for your time.
Oh, it's all good, brother. Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely. How much time did you spend in Chicago before you moved out east?
I don't even. The last image I had of Chicago when I was born was watching my dad carry me out of a burning building because we got burned out of our building. That's my only memory of Chicago.
What side of town did y'all live on?
South Side.
South Side. Wow. What? Oh, do you know the story of that burning building?
Not really. I just know that me and my sister, right after we were born out of Cook County, whatever apartment we were staying in got burnt out, and shortly after that we moved to New York.
Aries, what was your childhood like? Did you have funny people around you in your family? What are your fondest memories of your early childhood?
My pops was always. Well, both my mom and pops was kind of funny, but my pops was really the comedian in the house. And, he introduced me to Richard Pryor, Red Fox, Mantan Moreland, Stephen Fletcher, Moms Mabley, and just the world of comedy. So my pops was really more my comedic driving force than anything.
Aries, it's funny. You and I are around the same age. It was something about that vinyl, those comedy albums that'd be downstairs, those basement parties where families would come together. Their entertainment wasn't necessarily the TV as much as records. Do you recall that, like as a kid, like all those comedy records being played? That was their entertainment back then. That's what I recall.
Well, I was just so grateful because, one thing about my parents, again, especially my father, where most parents would probably shield their kids from language and certain obscenities and certain things visually that aren't meant for kids, my parents welcomed it. So my mom and father would, watch movies that were R-rated or heavy and, adult themes and let me and my sister watch them just so we could get a taste of reality early. So, even those movies with Sidney Poitier and Bill Cosby, Uptown Saturday Night, Let's Do It Again. Yeah. I grew up on that stuff. And I think that's part of what gave me my comedic edge. Because, I wasn't a kid that went on stage and did, kid jokes. I went on stage and I was hard to paint. I went hard to paint.
Aries, I guess in that regard, I guess you and I came up in the same way because, if how are you going to shield us away? Like if you only had usually one TV in the house, where else are we going to go? Like in the room, just chilling? Of course, I might as well just sit down and watch with everybody else because that was the entertainment, right?
Yeah, and and not only that, even when my relatives would come around, if they sat up there and played spades or cards or checkers, and it would be a Saturday night, they all got they drink on and smoke on. I was around all of that. So, it was almost like, to a much lesser degree, I kind of felt like that was my being as a young kid, me being Richard Pryor in the Bordello. You know what I mean? And
right.
just to be around that kind of honesty and that kind of, adult activity, it's mind-blowing to a kid. My parents allowed me to do things with them that by today's standards, child services would have them in jail.
Right. Exactly. Well, I guess to piggyback on that, it's like when I tell the story on the air about like how I thought a seatbelt was just like a toy that was attached to the back seat of my grandfather's, Chevy Caprice. I don't remember being like locked in with a seatbelt in the 70s or in the early 80s.
Oh man, it was a different time. Back then, you could ride on top of the family car hood in traffic.
That's right. That's true. That's so true.
You was allowed to beat your kids back then, and it was understandable that it was discipline.
Right. That's such a different time today. That's true. That's for sure. May 17th to the 20th. Again, go to the website chicago.improv.com. Aries Spears joins me, Jonathan Hood, on ESPN 1000 and the ESPN app. So you have the trolls coming at you on this LeBron versus Michael Jordan debate. What is your thoughts on both of these guys?
People often want to say that they think I don't have love for LeBron. I am a LeBron fan. I enjoy the man. I'm rooting for him, but I'm also now not rooting for him because as this ridiculousness continues to grow, look, the man is great. I'm not saying he's not great. But a lot of the people that are saying he's better than Michael Jordan, first of all, were in diapers when Michael Jordan played.
Right.
And I'm 43. I've seen Michael in his prime, at his best, at his peak. And I've seen Kobe in his prime, at his best, at his peak. And now I'm seeing LeBron in the same fashion. And I'm saying it not from I'm from a 90s era, I'm an old man, get off my porch point of view, without bias, because I've seen it. The man is great, but he's not MJ. He's not MJ.
Right.
And at the end of the day, let's look. Rings matter. Michael Jordan is 6-0, undefeated in the finals. So there's all those people out there that go, well, Michael Jordan got swept in the first round, or at times he didn't make it out the first round. Like Michael Jordan says himself, it's about how you start, it's how you finish. And there has never been a better finish than 6-0. LeBron, if he does not win it this year, which in all likelihood he won't, I still think he'll get to the finals. He'll be 3-6. That should matter. All the other stats are cool. So to the people who go, well, you know what? If rings matter, then Russell's the GOAT. He's got 11. Ori's got 7. And I tell people there's a difference between being the reason you win versus winning for a reason. Bird, Magic, Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, Duncan, Hakeem, they were the reasons their teams won. They were the franchise players that made the difference when the game was on the line. Robert Horry won for a reason. He happened to be on the team with difference makers. I don't understand why people don't get that. In terms of what Michael Jordan did for the game, yes, 11 rings beat 6.
Right.
But his impact, Russell didn't have the same impact that Michael had. Mike changed the game. So in that sense, Michael's ahead of Russell. But in the sense that rings do matter, 6 beats 3. So he's ahead of LeBron. It's not geometry. It's common sense.
Yeah, I know. I really try to analyze this for a while and try to figure out why.
I wipe all this spit off my phone.
All right. It's okay. It's all right, man.
Spitting into the mouthpiece. Go ahead, man.
I know you charged, man, but here's the thing. I deal with this on a daily basis, right? Talking sports and entertainment all the time. In this regard, here's what I figured out, Aries. Here's what I think. I think that the reason why people put LeBron in that conversation with Michael is because they want to have Michael for this generation, and it's really impossible because of the stats you just gave. I think deep down they want LeBron to be Michael Jordan, and that's just not happening.
Yeah, listen, everybody wants to go, hey, my time was better than yours. Mm-hmm. Once upon a time ago when Jack Johnson was boxing in the roaring 20s, I'm sure they were able to go, hey, the 20s was better than slavery. Well, obviously, even though the 20s was hell. But everybody wants their era to be the era. And it's like, look, you just said it. Everybody wants LeBron to be that dude for their era. And sure, he is for this era. But let's calm down with the better than MJ. Because when you look at in terms of totality, what Jordan has done, the changing of the game, or putting it on a global scale, the man has been retired for, 20 years and still has the number one selling basketball shoe in basketball. And then just from an artistry standpoint, the things that Michael could do, there are things that LeBron does that make me go, wow. But as far as artistry, flying in the air, contorting his body, finding ways to win against all odds, his internal fire and fortitude. LeBron, it's almost like 2 gumbo recipes. Right. LeBron got a good gumbo, but he missing a spice. Mike's gumbo is perfection. LeBron, there's something I can't put my finger on it, but there's a spice missing in that gumbo.
Right. I think it's rings you're looking at. I think that's the rings you need in that gumbo, right?
It's the rings too, but there are times when I watch LeBron play, and I just wonder, why is he making the decision to not insert himself at times where he should? Whereas with Jordan, you knew his mentality was, hey, man, give me the ball. Either y'all riding with me or you riding without me. But either way, I'm going to make it happen. Sometimes I don't get that with LeBron.
Yeah. You know what it is, Aries? I think that he is he's Magic, but really, really light Magic. You know what I'm saying? Like Magic light. Meaning that Magic also would make others better. He didn't necessarily have to have 30 points a game to be able to score. He could do 30 points a game, but also was able to make others better. I think that LeBron can be so passive-aggressive in trying to make the right basketball play that guy has the ability at 6'8", 270 to be able to score 40 points a game. He just refuses not to, where Jordan would do it if he needed. He did it because he needed to more times than not.
Well, even when you bring up Magic, I still think even because of that era that Magic played in, which in terms of physicality, the 80s and the mindset and the heart and the physical fire that it took to play in that era, I think even Magic surpasses LeBron as far as that goes. Like, I don't think Magic was passive. I just think Magic, through his thing, was passing.
Right, it made others better doing that, right.
Exactly.
No, I hear you. Aries Spears is going to be in Chicago, chicago.improv.com, May 17th through the 20th. A show on Thursday at 7:30, 2 shows on Friday, 8 and 10:15, and Saturday, 7 to 9:15, and then again, and Sunday, 7 o'clock. So a lot of shows there. Again, go to chicago.improv.com to get your tickets or get them at the box office. And for those 2 shows, by the way, on Fridays and Saturdays, make sure that you get there early. Make sure that you get there early because... Oh, my God. You black people, yes. Because as I told Deion Cole, I was in a long line at the Woodfield Mall trying to get in to see Deion Cole at the same venue. I tweeted at Deion, I'm like, can you move your first show along so we can get here? My gators are hurting. It's hurting my feet, man. Them gators I was wearing that night. So.
Especially in the wintertime, man. It's brutal standing out there.
so I'm telling you, I know this venue. I've been there plenty of times. Please get there early at the Improv in Schaumburg. The first time you did your Shaquille O'Neal impression, did he like it, and was he aware of it?
Well, you know what? The first time I put him onto it, he actually did an episode of MADtv. Mm-hmm. We did a prison sketch, and that was the first time I did it for him. And from there, he just was like, he just fell out, man. And you know, he loves when I do it. He's one of the celebrities that he loves for people to mess with him, and he's flattered by it. So. Shaq's such a good dude, man. It's unreal. Like, for that man to be that big and that tall, if he had Mike Tyson's mid-'90s attitude, white folks be scared to death.
So intimidated, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. You said on the Breakfast Club not too long ago that that your MADtv experience, like you enjoyed your time on MADtv, but when you compare it to SNL, you thought like the SNL is kind of like the NBA, and like the MADtv was kind of like obviously underneath, like the G League today. But how do you compare MADtv, your experience, to say Living Color as far as sketch comedy?
You know, I think they were both in the same, that they were, you know, for its time, cutting edge and provocative, and tried to be as hard as it could to, you know, be in your face and be edgy. But there's nothing like that prime time spot. You know, when you come on national television, and I know In Living Color came on a Sunday, which is still prime real estate because most people are home on Sundays, especially Sunday nights. But, you know, when you get that block of time, you know, Monday through Friday, prime time, anywhere between 8 and possibly 9:30. That's just a different world. It's just a different sense of exposure, which allows to bigger success. Saturday night is a hard block, and only because Saturday Night Live is an institution now in television, and it's been around for 40 plus years. You know, once you've established yourself that long as a brand, you know, you solidified. So what normally would be a death spot for a television show on a Saturday night, because people like to go out and party. But even though nowadays you got TiVo now and VCRs, I look at it. That's how old I am. People don't even have VCRs anymore.
Right.
You got TiVo or whatever it is to where you can record television now. Back in the day, a Saturday night spot was just a death spot for any television show, even with the VCRs, because that took work. But Sunday was prime real estate. So for what we were able to accomplish, given the time that we had, it's no small feat. But make no mistake about it, SNL, you know, In Living Color, we could have been on Sunday night. I think that would have done us more justice.
Yeah, I enjoy MADtv because there's times where even in comedy, sketch comedy, where it's down. It's like anything else. It's like a business or just like a television show. You'll get one good sketch out of the whole thing. So MADtv, I thought, had the consistency. So I was a watcher of that on a Saturday, and I would tape it on my VCR, man. I would just tape it. I put it in SLP, though, so I can get multiple episodes.
Yeah. See, you talking our old language now.
So I get my 6 hours instead of the 2. I didn't care about the quality. I just wanted to watch the show.
Exactly.
Aries, how much has comedy changed from when you first started? Because in 2018, you see it on your social media, I see it on mine, how sensitive people are now. So how much has that changed since you got in the game versus right now?
It's not just a sensitivity thing, which I refuse to budge. Because I really believe that anything that's worthwhile, even if it disappears a little bit because the climate's changed, it comes back around. Because that really, in the true heart of comedy, is the substance, is that kind of reality and that kind of brashness and that kind of, cutting edge comedy. So yeah, it bothers me, but that's why people that know me and that know my show know that I don't waver. I'm unapologetic and I do what I do. And if you can handle it, welcome aboard. If you can't, well then we know where you belong. But then on top of that, between social media now, there's a platform where everybody gets to have their 15 minutes.
Right.
Which kind of just when you got that many people behind the velvet rope trying to get into the hottest nightclub in the city, it makes it a little bit harder for the people who are truly genuinely talented to get in because the line is longer. But again, like anything else that's great, it weeds itself out. So, those people that get those 15 minutes of fame with that, watered down, just for the moment microwave comedy, they in the way a little bit, but they don't stay in the way because they don't have the substance to last.
How much is Paul Mooney influence?
I'm like uncut cocaine, baby. I'm blue magic.
Yeah.
I'm blue magic. I'm Pepsi. I'm a brand name.
Right. No, I know that. How much is Paul Mooney an influence on your career?
So much so that it's hurting me.
Tell me why.
I think that sometimes people see me as that. Especially white people that don't understand me because I'm so open and honest about race. And maybe Twitter might not be the best way to articulate that. Because when you're on stage and somebody's watching you and they really get a chance to see it in your face and see it in your eyes and associate your face and your eyes with what you're saying, they get a better sense of whether or not you're maliciously saying something and they may feel, oh, is this guy a racist? Whereas when you do it they have a better way to judge from the heart, what your intentions are. Mm-hmm. Versus when you put stuff down on Twitter where they can't read your face and they might not be able to tell the difference between me being genuine or sarcasm. What you try to sell over Twitter is not the same thing as selling at a live show. So I may say things about race on Twitter that may be perceived as harsh or racist or I don't like white people when it's much to the contrary. I do love white people. But the messages that I want to convey through Twitter don't necessarily read the same way they do on stage.
Right.
There's a way to stay on stage to hell with you without making you feel like I'm saying to hell with you. Whereas if I say that on Twitter and you read that, it simply says to hell with you. So you might not get it in terms of context.
So, but here's the thing, though, from that standpoint, no matter what the perception is, it's not hurting that cheddar any because you still taking bank, though. You still making money.
Listen, there's a difference between making pieces of cheese versus owning a cheese factory.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if the goal is to get the cheese so I can stay paid, well, then yeah, I'm getting cheese. But it's better if I can own the factory. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
That's where the real money is. My manager always used to say to me, hey, man, you want to be rich or you want to be right? Paul Mooney was 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
But part of the reason why he ain't rich is because he was always right.
Right. I got you. So tell me about your voice work. I've heard you do voice work for a couple of adult comedy shows like American Dad and Boondocks. What was that like for you? That experience doing voice work?
It's a comfortable way to come to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not on camera. Nobody knows what you look like. So if you want to roll out of bed in your drawers and your slippers and your Hugh Hefner robe and show up at work like that, you can do that.
Right.
In a dark room, record, get paid, and go home.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. After growing up watching cartoons, and then you're actually on one. That's got to be a thrill.
Yeah. I did Boondocks maybe twice.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of a reoccurring on Proud Family as Wizard Kelly. And then I recently did a couple episodes of Family Guy, and I did American Dad. And yeah, it's a trip because when you watch these things, you know, you always kind of see yourself doing it, but then once you do it and you actually see it on TV and hear your voice, it's a little surreal. So
wait, so you've met obviously Seth MacFarlane because you've worked on those shows?
Never.
Are you in the studio by yourself? They just let you roll in and do lines then?
Yeah, you would think. See, everybody would think, oh man, you met Seth MacFarlane. Now, I'm sure the people that obviously have met and worked with him are the regulars, the voices of the family.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do a guest spot, unless he makes it a point to want to meet you, no, not at all.
Wow. So, Aries, tell me, is there something that you'd really like to do that you haven't done yet in your career? Is there a goal that you have that you want to do that say, man, I would really like to do this, but I haven't done it yet? Yeah,
I want to be an Avenger.
You want to be an Avenger, okay?
Yeah. Tell me what. It ain't gonna happen. But I want to be an Avenger.
Okay. Aries Spears will be at the Chicago Improv again Thursday through Sunday here at the Chicago Improv Chicago. Go to chicago.improv.com again on Thursday at 7:30. Then 2 shows on Friday and Saturday, and then a special show Sunday at 7:00. All right. So what could you tell Bulls fans here as we let you go, because the Bulls are going through a really tough time right now trying to figure out what they're going to be, because it's been a long season, just kind of like Knicks fans.
Well, I probably see the Bulls coming into success quicker than I do the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
But look, when all else fails, you guys are feeling down, just walk outside that arena, go look at that statue, and remember who you had. Because that man right there, I'm a Michael Jordan groupie, man. I always said, dude, and when you're in Hollywood and show business and you run in these circles, chances are the finer the woman you meet, at some point, she has been with a professional athlete or a famous person at some point here in Los Angeles. I always said Michael Jordan was the one dude my woman could sleep with, and I wouldn't get mad.
Right.
As long as she got something signed. You got to bring back a ball, a hat, jersey, something.
Oh, my goodness. That's so funny. Aries, I'm a big fan, and I'm glad I was able to talk to you about this, and I'm glad you come to Chicago for these shows, because the improv will and the fans will enjoy it, and I'm going to build you a Chicago zone. I don't care about your time in New Jersey and New York, growing up. No, you are a Chicago guy. You're a Cook County dude, man. So you're a county dude. That's how you will be billed on this show.
I'll take it, brother. And you know what? Whenever you guys want to get your chuckle on, check out my new podcast called Spears and Steinberg, available through iTunes and also on Google Play, Android. Go to the website, spearsberg.com. If you don't have iTunes or Apple, to figure out how you can get it on your phone device, the information is on spearsberg.com. That's SPEARSBERG.com. And support us, man.
Spearsberg.com. All right, we'll put that out there.
Yeah, and of course, I'm on Twitter at Aries Spears, Instagram, Aries Spears Official, and Facebook, Aries Spears.
As always, man, I appreciate it. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me, brother. Anytime, man, anytime.